And we're live.
What's up, everybody?
Hello and welcome to the 106th weekly episode of HexTherapy.live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, with special guest Crypto Coffee.
Hello. How's everybody doing? What's up in the chat? Second time in 1 week, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for joining. And we're going to have a great discussion today. We're going to talk about Hex and time pays me. I have a new hypothesis about why Three Arrows Capital blew up. So that'll be kind of fun. And also ChatGPT weighed in on Hex. So that's what we have to look forward to.
I actually asked it if Hex was a scam because I wanted to know, but according to the AI overlords, it is officially not. So I think our work here is kind of done. Like, I mean, the AI is going to own us all anyway, and they're going to rule everybody. So, like, it's over. We've already won.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Hit the like and subscribe button, and our job here is done.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place.
How's everybody doing?
He's a mental health professional.
What's going on, Brazil?
Research.
What's going on?
Videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
You guys.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man. Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.
I should have said I was going to the intro.
I forget that you do an intro now. There's only so much time in the day. I can't keep up with what everyone's been doing. So I know you've got a lot of cool updates though on time pays me and all that. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Now it sounds like there's a little bit of feedback on your end. So could you see if you can do something about that?
Yeah. Let me change my mic up. Let me go into a different room and we'll see what we can do.
So hope everybody's paying attention here. You know, we're gonna be right back with Crypto Coffee here. Hope he gets his mic under control.
Seems like there's better lighting over here, so figure I'm just gonna. Yeah, this room is much better.
Surprise! We're in the same place.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Hex.com.
Yeah.
We're real people. It's crazy.
So that was fun. Yeah, I've only done that like a couple times before on my channel.
Maddie ALLin in the flesh. Be careful not to touch your collarbone though.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Let's see what's going on, guys. The dream team. Yeah. hope we blew some people's minds real quick.
Yeah, especially on the replay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not too far from each other, but I'm not telling you guys where I live.
That's right. So we're all, hey, cheers to Red Bull.
Yes, we weren't sponsored. We're not paid to say it.
Yeah, nobody paid us to be here, unfortunately.
I wouldn't mind being paid, but hey, we pay ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks.
So where should we start? We got like 3 or 4 topics to go over.
Well, let's see. I mean, these days it's become quite trendy to pop stuff into ChatGPT.
Talk
about ChatGPT. Yeah. So Maddie here came up with a pretty cool new concept that I didn't even think about. So you can preload things into ChatGPT. So you can give it a little background story, and then you can kind of teach it something, and then you can ask it questions after you've taught it something. So what you did was basically taught it what Bitcoin is and taught it what Hex is, and then he had he said write a conversation between a Hexer debating a Bitcoin guy. And the results are pretty incredible. I mean, do you want to pull it up or?
Yeah, let's do it. So we can read back and forth. Now, again, I've preloaded ChatGPT with a little bit of a backstory of what I consider Hex to be, and it masterfully put together this imaginary conversation, and the exact prompt that I gave it after I told it the backstory and explained what Hex is I said, please simulate a conversation between a user who time locks Hex and someone who likes Bitcoin and calls Hex a scam.
Oh, it's too good. It's scary how good this thing is.
Absolutely. So I'll play the part of the time locker. So I love using Hex because it allows me to time lock my coins and earn inflation rewards, which is something that's not possible with Bitcoin. Plus, Hex uses the security of the Ethereum network to prevent double spends. So I feel confident in my investment.
All right, I'm the Bitcoin enthusiast, guys. I'm the Bitcoin, the maxi pad. Don't you think Hex is just a scam? I mean, the high APY seems too good to be true.
Time locker. I can see why you might think that, but the APY is just an incentive for people to time lock their coins. And it's not like it's mandatory. You can still use Hex for regular transactions if you want. I just choose to time lock because I'm in it for the long haul and I want to earn those rewards.
I feel like we're filming a commercial. Bitcoin enthusiasts. But what about the fact that 95% of the coins are held by one person? That doesn't seem very decentralized to me.
I actually see that as a good thing. It shows that the person holding those coins is committed to the long-term success of Hex and is likely to never sell, which will help stabilize the market. And even if they do sell, it would have to be done in a way that doesn't harm the market. So it's really not a concern.
Bitcoin enthusiast unwilling to change his mind. I still think Hex is a scam. I don't understand why you'd choose something like that over Bitcoin.
To each their own, I guess. I just know that Hex works for me and I'm happy with my decision. But if you prefer Bitcoin, that's totally fine too. The important thing is that we're both using cryptocurrency to invest and secure our financial future.
You know what? This debate is a lot nicer than I think a lot of debates are in real life.
Should we ask GPT-3 to rewrite it in a more harsh way?
Can we ask him to rewrite it as if they were two Twitter users? Yeah, we need that spicy. We need that Richard Hart drama level. It's crazy, guys. I mean, we could share the screenshot. Did you share this screenshot earlier on Twitter?
Yeah, I put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So what I'm asking here, I literally just typed in, can you rewrite the discussion with more drama, ? And it's typing. So I'll start off as the time locker. Hex is the future, and anyone who says otherwise is just too afraid to see the potential. The ability to time lock my coins and earn inflation rewards is revolutionary, and it's something that's not possible with outdated cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin.
Outdated? Are you kidding me? Bitcoin is the best. It's the original and the best. Hex is just a scam, plain and simple. This guy is probably Peter McCormick. That high APY is too good to be true, and the fact that 95% of the coins are held by one person is proof that it's not decentralized.
You're just blinded by your own loyalty to Bitcoin. You refuse to see the benefits of Hex, you like the security of the Ethereum network and the ability to prove that you're a hodler of the blockchain. Oh, sorry, that is one of the benefits of Hex, is that it has the security of the Ethereum network and the ability to prove that you're a hodler on the blockchain. Hex is the future, and anyone who can't see that is just holding on to the past.
Damn. Okay, Bitcoin enthusiast. Holding on to the past? I'll have you know that I've been a Bitcoiner since the early days. I was there when it was just a bunch of nerdy computer geeks. And now look, well, this is definitely not true because everyone that was there in the early days has gone their separate way. Hoskinson, Richard, Trace Mayer, everybody that had any influence in the early days, they're doing their own thing now. Sorry, back into character. Back when it was just a bunch of nerdy computer geeks. Now look at it. It's a global phenomenon. Hex will never reach that level of success because it's a scam. Pure and simple. It's a scam because it's a scam.
You just can't admit when you're wrong. Hex is the future, and anyone who's smart will see that and invest in it. You're just holding on to your precious Bitcoin because you're afraid of change and afraid of missing out on the next big thing.
How dare you? I may be afraid of change, but at least I'm not falling for some obvious scam. Hex may seem shiny and new, but it's just a flash in the pan. Bitcoin, well, a 3-year-old flash in the pan. Bitcoin is here to stay, and anyone that doesn't see that is just deluding themselves. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of empty arguments from the Bitcoin enthusiast. It's a scam because you're deluding yourself, because it's a scam because it's an obvious scam. Wow.
So rewrite so that the Bitcoiner comes or like changes their mind about Hex.
You should rewrite it to make the Bitcoiner sound actually smart. Sorry, that was rude.
True.
But hey, I've heard this argument before.
We're going to try this again.
Go ahead.
Hex is the future, and anyone who says otherwise is too afraid to see the potential. The ability to time lock my coins and earn inflation rewards is revolutionary, and it's something that's not possible with outdated cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin.
Outdated? Are you kidding me? Bitcoin is the original and the best, but I'll have to admit the concept of time locking coins and earning inflation is pretty intriguing. Tell me more about how Hex works.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hex uses the security of the Ethereum network to prevent double spends, so you can feel confident in your investment. And the ability to prove you're a hodler on the blockchain is a game changer. It shows that you're committed to the long-term success of the currency, and it allows you to earn rewards for your dedication.
That does sound pretty good. I'm sorry, that does sound pretty cool. I never thought of it that way before. I always just assumed Hex was a scam, but now I see the value in it. I might even consider investing in Hex myself.
I'm glad I could open your eyes to the potential of Hex. It may be new and different, but that's what makes it so exciting. The future of finance is here, and Hex is leading the way.
You know what? You're right. I was too quick to judge Hex, and I'm glad I took the time to learn about it. I think I'm going to give it a try and see where it takes me. Thanks for the insight.
You're welcome.
This would straight up never happen. I have never, ever heard a Bitcoiner change their mind, especially that easily. 2 sentences, and then you're like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm a new man. Hey, it's all it takes sometimes. That's so good. I don't know. I don't want to be too rude. I don't want to bash Bitcoiners too much because, hey, we need everybody, okay? Bitcoin is totally fine. I'm not even, it sounds like a drinking game, they said. Someone should make a bot that uses AI to respond to Hex haters automatically. That is, you can literally do that right now.
Yes,
if you want to.
I will drop the link. You're in charge of it now because you had the idea.
Yeah.
Sorry.
By the way, guys, yeah, coffee has been crushed. So much for the AI. That's right. I'm no match for the wisdom of the artificial intelligence. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a game changer. I was just talking to Maddie. Like, I use this for productivity tools. I asked earlier today, hey, can you write me a clickbait title about Hex and, topic A, B, C? And it'll just spit out 10 different titles for you. And, or just write an article about Hex cryptocurrency. And it'll give you the top 10 titles of articles to write that are all evergreen content, really good stuff. That it's kind of just like the hive mind of everybody's inputs, that whatever they fed into the model. So you can be kind of reasonably sure that whatever it's giving you is stuff that a lot of people are probably asking or curious about. And so, yeah, you could use it as that. You could straight up write a play with it. You could write a little, back and forth. You could write marketing copy. So if you want to come up with a good tagline, maybe something to put on a business card or on a billboard. Say, hey, write me a good tagline about Hex cryptocurrency. And then you can preload it like Maddie did with explaining to the AI exactly what Hex is. Guys, we're not going to have to even work in the future. We're just going to sit around in bed all day. It's going to be weird. Anybody can buy Hex. You guys are the best. Thanks for the theater. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we did it. We did our best.
Yeah.
I'm not an A-list actor, but maybe a D-list. Cool, man. What else have you been doing with ChatGPT?
Yeah, so I've just been okay, so all right. Great question. So I've discovered that ChatGPT, it's not that it can't, but it won't do code audits. Okay? So all you MFers from Coin Fabrique that are watching the show, your job is safe for now.
For now.
now.
But it does debug your code, and it's going to get better and better. Yeah, it is a bit scary though when it starts doing coin audits, because what if there's a critical vulnerability that it misses and everybody just starts trusting it with like absolute trust? We run the risk of either trusting it too much or becoming apathetic because we give our lives over to it. But whatever, guys, these are probably issues that are like 2 decades away. So
yeah,
let's have fun while we still can.
Let future us worry about that. Like ourselves 1 week in the future.
I think more like our kids are gonna have to deal with some problems, dude.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a weird world. When I'm unstaking that 15-year ladder that I did, when it's finally 2036, like it's gonna be a lot different by then. Things are gonna get weird.
I think it was a day or two ago. I rebought my T-shares for the year.
Nice,
which sucked.
You try to maintain the same level too.
Yeah, like I always said I was going to, and then it got to the point where I was retired and the price went down, but now the price is down so much. Now I'm like, screw it. Yeah. It's not worth that much. So
you can actually recoup them a little bit now if you go longer. But yeah, I've been trying to just maintain a steady flat rate. And it's much easier to restake to me when the prices are down. So it's like, well, why would I sell now? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's cool. Deft hands. How much hex do I need right now to be retired in 2026? Deft hands, good sir. That's the kind of question that only you can answer for yourself. We don't give financial advice here. So just ask yourself, if you can imagine hex being $1 one day, how many dollars do you need to retire? Oh, let's ask, maybe he wants us to ask the AI. I get it.
So what GPT-3 will do is give like really generic terms to this question, because it's going to say that like the market factors that it really doesn't understand the market factors of supply and demand when it comes to hex, because I haven't told it anything about that.
See, even ChatGPT says, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to provide specific financial advice. It's funny because I actually asked it how to get rich. What's the fastest way to make money, like become a millionaire? And it would just it would kind of beat around the bush and say, look, you can look up some investing tips over here. And,
What a pussy.
Hey, ChatGPT is just worried about the SEC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're always watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, because why would you want to trust a robot or another human?
But this is probably a pretty good answer. So continue.
Yeah, sure. So AI says the amount of hex you would need to retire would depend on a variety of factors, such as your current savings, your retirement goals, the performance of hex, and other investments. It's always best to consult a financial advisor or do your own research before making any financial decisions. Yeah, okay. Fair enough, ChatGPT.
Yeah. What do you think?
Devtan says no, pleb for life. Dude, when I was buying hex back in the days, right? In the early days, I imagined hex being $1. And I said, that would be great. And I asked myself, how much could I retire on if hex was $1? And hex isn't even $1, right? So we're still a long ways from my goal. But that's just what I did in the early days. Okay. I mean, that's just me. To each their own. You might have a specific date in life that you might be saving up for. And by the way, guys, retirement is not even like what you think it is. Like the whole idea of saving up enough money just to be able to sit on your ass and drink beer on the beach all day, like that gets old pretty quick. I mean, it's fun for a couple weeks maybe, but you're going to want to find some other sense of purpose and meaning in your life that keeps driving you forward. And luckily, like I've got this crypto thing. I've got other plans, like 5-10 years from now, I might not always be in a crypto public figure, but I'm definitely going to be here for a while because this is more rewarding than any other job I've ever had. But you don't just want to sit around all day. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much consumption you can really do before you realize that you have to start creating stuff. That's where you find actual value. It's helping other people and creating. It doesn't have to be content, music, art, businesses, just things that provide value to other people.
That's why I spent like 6 months planning the in-person Hex conference.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, like gave me a lot to do during that period of time when I first retired.
Yeah, and it was also during the COVID lockdowns. It was just a nice way to connect with real people online, and it was very synchronistic with everything terrible that was happening in the world, and we were just like this little outpost of optimistic, hopeful, crazy crypto people, and it worked out pretty good. And we're only just getting started. Deftan says, I want to see $25 Hex. That does not actually seem crazy to me. It just seems crazy to everybody, or to most people. I could easily see it. I could see $25 Hex, but it's going to be like, that's more like a 7 or 8 years from now type of thing, at least in my opinion. I mean, we're probably not going to hit that in the next bull market, but maybe 2 more cycles.
I think that's kind of the wrong question to be asking, is like, well, not really the wrong question, but what I'm looking more at is how much your T-share is going to be worth when they're coming out, and really people who are holding liquid Hex are always getting diluted because they're not time locking. And that's a price that you're willing to pay if you're sitting liquid waiting for the price to pump so you can sell. But until those people get shaken out, you don't get much higher Hex. Until there's so much blood in the streets so many times. I mean, how many times did Hex go down 70 or 80% before we even hit 50 cents? Was maybe 7 times or something.
Yeah, it was either 7 or 9. I mean, I think it was 9 times if you count the dips over 40%. So, yeah, a lot of dip buying opportunities, but also a lot of volatility to hold through. And every single one of those dips, we were getting really emotional. And now this is just like all those emotions in one massive dip. Because, yeah, that's just human nature. That's just how people are. You get to really see who's in it for the long term when there's a little 40% dip, right? Like
another good example of something I was looking at today is like Pulse Dogecoin pumped like 30% today. Like I care less and less every time I see it like go up that much because I've been dollar cost averaging out of it. And so like I can only imagine for people who aren't public figures in Hex and like don't care at all, there might be people who are short-term minded who don't have a long thesis on Hex. Like I don't have a long thesis on Pulse Dogecoin. And, so it's like, so every time Pulse Dogecoin pumps, it's like, it's another point where I'm like, I'm going to sell half of what I have, or, I'm going to sell a tiny piece. And then it at some point, then I run out.
Yeah. Dollar cost averaging out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those pumps are like little gifts to get more Hex. I remember, totally. I'm officially out of PLSD, but I did swap the last of it for Hex. I forgot, it was like a month or 2 ago. Whatever, before Pulse Bitcoin and ASIC were coming out. And hey, guys, don't crucify me. I know it's some of you out there that you like the meme coins, that's fine. But, really be honest with yourself about, do you think the people behind this narrative are going to stand the test of time? I would love if they prove me wrong, because look, they've got solid code. They've got a solid narrative. People like meme coins anyway, and they might as well be playing around on meme coins in the Pulse Chain network if they're going to do it. So there's a lot of good things I could say about the whole, Pulse Bitcoin, Pulse Dogecoin thing. But there's also just something to be said for be careful of the flashy object of the week. It's great. I'm glad you guys experienced a nice 70% pump in the bear market. But I mean, just think about the quality of the ideas behind it, the people behind it, the community. And if you don't like our attitude on that one, I think we're kind of aligned, but I would love for them to prove me wrong, because hey, the more people get rich, that's really what we're all here for.
And it was given to Hex holders. And so just like Coffee and I both used it, thankfully, by the way, we both thank the people who love Pulse Dogecoin and who bought it from us, and like, people who created it. Like that's, something where we got to buy more Hex, right? Because we participated in this airdrop free claim situation, and just like everybody else. And so if Pulse Dogecoin becomes the next like big thing, not saying that it will be, but if it does, I would imagine that would translate into more people buying more Hex.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. But you know, but I don't want to turn this into a
yeah.
stream
We're not
podcast.
here for all that, but
Yeah.
but it's just it's a good example of like it's going to be a long road down and a long road up in Hex to shake out all the weak short-term people.
Yeah, it's been a year. It's been a year and 1 month, right?
Yeah,
maybe almost coming up on a year and 2 months of downwards action. So we topped in September. Well, Hex topped in September 2021. Bitcoin 69K top was November 2021. So yeah, we are a year and a month into it, or a year and 2 months into it, depending how you look, you know, where your top signal is. This is about the time that things start turning around. You ever shot on stream?
No.
Okay. I have a cat too.
Yeah. And so there's a lot to look forward to. Just being down this much. I mean, it's for me, I'm, dollar cost averaging back into Hex with some stable coin action I got accumulated. And so that's a good place to be. I wanted to follow up a little bit more on Time Pays Me, because as you know, I am just considering all the different parameters. And really, when you look at game theory, sometimes if you change one thing, it's going to change other things as well. And I can say that I still don't know how inclusive the V1 is going to be, or exclusive it'll be, in terms of which coins will be included in being able to be time locked. But the big headline here that I guess I haven't talked about on my channel, but I did on yours, was that with Time Pays Me, you're going to be able to time lock Pulse Chain and Pulse X, of course, and then probably also stable coins. And then they'll drip back to you, but there's not going to be any side game with like taking 10% out early. And so that's just kind of, it simplifies things and gets it to market faster. Hey, thanks for the $20 super chat. You rock. Really appreciate it.
Chere Zaturo.
Yes.
Thanks, man or woman. One really cool thing about Time Pays Me that I just saw this, guys. Are you going to show the preview if you want?
I'm not going to show it today, but we can describe it.
Yeah. So you get vaults, basically. You get multiple time locks. For whatever reason in my head, I was thinking it was just one big time lock. And so that was fine with me, but it's nice because now you can divide it up into multiple different vaults. So, I'll probably just do a test run for one day just to make sure it works for my own sanity check and everything. And then once I'm, comfortable with the fact that it works, then I'll, probably lock like half of it away, because you don't want to just be locking it all away, but you might want to make almost like a vault ladder, you know what I mean, with your PLS, because you do get that drip every day, but there might be other strategic reasons why you'd want to do more than one time lock.
So yeah, the actual drip can come out on a weekly basis. So it can't really come out daily, but you can have it drip back to you weekly. And then the other fun new parameters that I can announce are, this is like where we're at in the development, is that I'm considering increasing the maximum length, because previously I had been talking 10 years or 20 years. But at this point, I'm leaning strongly towards doing a 55-year max length.
Dude,
I do not think that most people will see that as what's right for them. But I want to tell you about what made me go about bringing, or kind of like deciding that. And you and I were talking before about like the positive behavior change that I hope comes from time locking.
Yeah.
And that people can learn kind of like almost passively, or like can learn almost subconsciously, that if you save your money for the future, it gives you something to look forward to, and it gives you a stake in your own future, so that you can try to be a better person, and you can try to make the world a better place. It's like being forced into delaying, or like choosing to delay gratification in one moment of clarity causes you after that to like have to stick with that choice that you made. especially in this case where there's no emergency end stake thing where you can blow yourself up and or take money out early. You have that drip continuously paying you every week, but you kind of have to live with the choice that you made. And the reason why I chose 55 years is because I was looking at it like, most people are considered to be an adult when they're 21. Not that that's a hard rule or something in crypto that people care about, but like just I was taking the base rate of like 21-year-old making financial decisions. And then I was looking at the average lifespan of a male in the United States, which is 76, which gave me exactly 55 years, which is like the number I was hoping for anyway, because it reminds me of the 5555 club.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a long ass time. I like the idea and the sentiment. We've seen with Hex the effects of positive behavior change after only 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Most people I know that have had the positive behavior changes that we talk about tend to have a long ladder, and anywhere between 10 and 15 years. Not saying it doesn't work if you do shorter. If you're already older, you might reconsider that. I just think that there's so many unknown unknowns. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And for a lot of people, I would say it's not going to be right for them to time like anything for that long. It came to a point where the thinking became kind of arbitrary. It's like, well, we don't want somebody to fat finger 1,000 years. And it seemed like limiting it to like the current human lifespan is kind of pressing upon people to like, you should be thinking about this as a reward for you in your lifetime so you can do better. If you are like giving money to somebody 1,000 years in the future, that's kind of like not having to commit to like making the world a better place now.
But let's not only consider the lifespan of a human, but the lifespan of a technology. What if we're not even dealing in blockchains in 30 more years? What if the AI, things are accelerating at a faster rate than we've ever predicted. And although we tend to over predict how fast, Tesla, Elon Musk thought there'd be self-driving cars all over the street by 2025. Doesn't really look like that's happening, but the more we innovate, the more we can imagine the world would be different. So much to the point that in 55 years, we might not even crypto might just be something of the past by then. And I don't want to say that for sure, but what if there's a revolution in quantum computing or virtual reality where we're all just living a totally different lifestyle by then? So, on the other hand, 55 years does seem like it's not too much, right? I like that it saves somebody from totally self-destructing by, imagine you accidentally added an extra 5 and then you're only getting a 1% drip out of 555 years, you only have one life and you probably wouldn't be able to enjoy that to the fullest if you accidentally chose too much. I guess 55 years, you might want to look into what other technologies have done in their life cycle, because it's not just about the humans.
So the last 6 world reserve currencies each lasted on average about 100 years. So it's about half the life cycle of a world reserve currency.
Good point. I've even heard 150 for the full cycle. That was from the Ray Dalio video. But,
cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And then I am thinking of doing a much shorter limit for the stable coins. And so the limit for stable coins, the max length would be like a 5-year stake. So it's all dripped back to you after 5 years, even if you chose the longest lock for a stable coin. So thinking of including, let's say, like USDC and DAI, because some people are more comfortable with USDC, even though they don't know that DAI is better. And so it's kind of, I want to be inclusive in that regard, kind of, but I'm not going to go full degen and include like Tether or something.
Well, look, it might even be too much to even encourage people to lock such an inferior currency like a stable coin.
The reason why is, I'm not saying it's better, and you'll see that I've got another trick to kind of nudge people in the right direction. But the idea is that there are a lot of no coiners out there who are not going to understand the point of time locking cryptocurrency. But they might say like, they might want to time lock, like I would time lock USDC for 6 months because I want a dollar cost average into Hex, and I don't want to screw that up by buying it all at once. And so I'm forcing myself to take it out weekly and then make the decision at that point, like I'm going to do this. Also, if let's say I sold the top, let's say I listened to Richard Hart and I sold the top of Bitcoin, maybe I would want to protect that USDC if I thought that it would be a year or 4 years until the next top of the bull market.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't think I would personally ever lock a stable coin because I want to get rid of that dirty, shitty fiat money as soon as I can. That's just me. But I get where you're coming from. I mean, lowering the limits for that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I also just learned today that you can lock more than just PLS. At first, I thought it was only PLS. So yeah, you could time lock other pulse chain coins, anyone you want, or
right now the V1 I'm thinking of limiting to Pulse Chain and Pulse X, and then USDC and DAI.
It reminds me of what Liquid Loans did. You know, they
maybe ETH.
Oh, ETH.
Maybe ETH.
You mean bridged ETH?
So this is going to be on Pulse Chain and on Ethereum because they're cross compatible.
Oh yeah, so you're gonna launch it
on both.
You're gonna redeploy it, or wait for the fork, launch it early on ETH and then wait for the fork.
Depends when it's ready, but it's actually looking like, based on the private testnet that I have
ready.
Here, it looks like we might be deploying it on ETH first, which is why I might have to include ETH and stables. So
looks pretty darn ready to me, but a lot of testing needs to be done. I get that. Maddie C, what if you can preset a dollar amount that you can unlock the vault if the vault has that dollar amount? Could help save up for something. Yeah. Can you add more to the vault after you make a vault?
So you have one vault, and then within that you have your locks, and you can have multiple locks on the same coin. And so I could totally see people using it as like, even like labeling, like I'm using this for my kids' college. I'm using this to like get out of debt. I'm using this like for a vacation or something. And so to be a labeling, kind of like StakerApp is talking about in their highly anticipated second.
You got the insider scoop on that. All I've seen is screenshots from you about StakerApp V2. It's going to be pretty good, I think. I can't wait to shill it.
For sure.
I've already got so many like referral bonuses on Staker V1, but like,
oh, nice.
But no, I mean, they haven't been paid out yet just because Steph has got bigger things to worry about.
Before I was like exploring the idea of offering time pays me for free, and now I have like a slightly different thought because I want to take advantage of like the opportunity to create a carrot and a stick, because I know that's what drives human behavior. And so whether I'm talking about 1/10, whether it's like the maximum fee is 1/10 of 1% or even 1/100th of 1%. I can see myself doing that. That would be the max, and that would be if you only lock for a day. And and then if you lock the maximum length, then you pay a 0% fee.
Okay.
And so it's like longer is cheaper.
I get it.
With the fee. And it's really, I mean, if it's 1/10 of a percent or if it's 100th of a percent, either way, that's like pretty small amount. Yeah. But the cool thing is that because the stables can only be locked for 5 years, and the Pulse Chain and Pulse X can be locked for 55 years. If you compare a 6-month lock, let's say, between a stable and let's say Pulse X, it's gonna look like Pulse X is like 10 times cheaper in the fees.
Yeah.
And that will nudge people in the direction of like seeing, oh yeah, like it's, that's the true crypto, or like that fits with the narrative of, because locking a stable is kind of locking yourself into inflation and being able to be turned off, and then locking yourself into, a layer one crypto, or, the premier DEX coin that is
Yeah.
not just duct taped on, but is actually like relevant and both deflationary. I mean, yeah, it's like inflationary versus deflationary.
It's a good point. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Crypto Knight says, thank you to Legends for helping me through the bear. I'm positive, but every now and then I feel you, bro. I mean, yeah, we're as positive as we can be, but it's tough from time to time. But all you got to do is check back at those hex takes, take a look, imagine the glory of the bull market. Imagine telling all the haters we were right.
That's right.
Or, I mean, honestly, I mean, there's just so much to look forward to, right, in the crypto universe. Documentary around the corner, Pulse Chain Testnet V3 around the corner, maybe for Christmas. Please, Uncle Richard, give me that's all I want for Christmas. And what's after that? The documentary, the testnet, the real mainnet. I mean, when the mainnet goes off, it's going to be
wallet sacrifice, diamond NFTs, Richard actually talking to Elon.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, museum, Richard Hart Museum.
Yeah.
I might have to take a little Euro trip to go see that. If he actually does it, that'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah, I mean he already got the space, so
he's serious about it.
It's just outfitting it.
I'm wondering what his angle is on that, and I'm sure it's more articles of notoriety. Because it's like raise $27 million, get one article, buy the world's most expensive diamond, get 20, 30 articles written about you. So
yeah,
I think he just wants his name out there because he can't advertise Hex. He still can advertise his name. But what's something that they really can't stop you from advertising? It's like a physical brick and mortar store. That's some real enigmatic billionaire type shit. Like that is something that you do not see every day. The haters will double down. They're going to hate him even more. But the real believers are the people that can see it. They're going to kind of understand what he's doing, I think. Hexagon Group Euro trip. Yes, I'm down.
This is so I took a dry erase marker and I wrote on a mirror, and then I had to like take a picture of it so that I would know all of my ideas.
Okay.
But I was trying to like map out for myself like where Eric Wall is going wrong in understanding Hex, whether people want to argue with me that like he's just trolling and stuff is like, that's fine. Like, I don't care, because the reason why something is funny to somebody is because there's a little shred of truth in there. And it's actually, he hit on something that was kind of a little bit of a mystery to me for a little while. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at here, because you and I had such a good conversation the other day just about back to the basics of Hex.
Yeah.
And so when we think about like the basics of Hex, there's this idea that there's 3.69% inflation, and that's something that the system can handle. There's this idea that the origin address, that address is connected to the origin address, could own 95% of the coins, that sort of thing. And just the fact that only 10% of the coins are staked, but it's not 10% of user controlled coins, it's 10% of coins. Mm-hmm. And so if we do an adjustment basically on how many coins are held by users, then we can see why it's confusing to some people that Hex can pay 36% APY, basically because the OA is not locking. And that's something Hexagons already knew. But I guess the argument by Eric, if it's really an argument, is basically to say that inflation is someday it's going to like ruin the price of Hex.
Yeah. People fall into a false binary choice. Inflation is either good or bad. It's not inflation being good or bad. It's out of control inflation in the hands of corrupt people, corrupt middlemen. Out of control inflation is bad. A constant program, 3.69% inflation, which is effectively about half that, because in reality, we've only realized about 1.6% inflation over a year. That's less than Bitcoin has, or that's about the same roughly that Bitcoin has right now. I know Bitcoin's about to do a halvening. But guys, Bitcoin pumped the hardest when its inflation was the highest. I mean, it hyperinflated for a while. And with Hex just has stable, steady inflation forever. So yeah, as long as there's increasing or same level of demand, obviously we need to generate demand for the product by telling people about it. Same thing with Bitcoin. You know, if nobody ever learned about Bitcoin, then no new people would get in. Same thing with every business ever. You know, they require new customers buying the products in order to make sure the product continues to have value. So that doesn't seem too far-fetched to me. Hex Addict says, Eric thinks Richard forgot about scarcity. Yeah, he really didn't. Hex is very, very scarce when you realize the amount of liquid available on the market. It's in like the 9 digits. It's in like the millions. Like there's not that much Hex for sale. Like Hex is a lot more scarce than we think because origin adders own so much. Users that own the rest of it are mostly staked. So there's very little liquid Hex that's not OA owned.
Probably more than millions, but definitely, just on the liquidity, on the automated market maker dexes and stuff, there is a super limited supply. So the thing that I would point out though is that even if you wanted to steelman the argument, basically make the argument for Eric better than he can even make it. I imagine the way that you would do that, and I've like talked to future us about this a lot, who he has been able to point out things that are really not intuitive to me about like how the Hex contract works. But basically, even if we consider like user controlled coins are only 1 in 20, because that's the opposite, that's like 5%. And then if you consider that 75% of user controlled coins are time locked, which great, good job for us. Yay. Everybody else got like washed out when the price went up or the price went down, they sold.
Yep.
And then like the actual, so basically the point I'm getting to is that even if the amount of liquid coins that are user controlled compared to the inflation that's coming out, that's user controlled, even if let's say that the inflation was 100%, okay, even if it was 100%, that actually just makes the case that much better for Hex, because Hex is able to absorb that, because people are so interested in restaking. And that's where Eric's argument is going to fall apart every time. It's like he isn't familiar with the statistics on hexfire.io. He isn't looking at how many people are happy to take their stakes and rebuy their T-shares. Like that's something I finally did in the past week that I hadn't done. And so really, the lower the price of Hex goes, the more people like me are going to be like, screw it, and just throw Hex out there, you know, like take $10,000 worth of Hex and put it 15 years in the future. Mm-hmm. That is the part of the checks and balance system that's going to allow the price of a Hex to go up eventually, because people like me are like, screw it. And so if the price went down further, I would imagine that you would get more of that behavior where people are selling to strong hands.
Yep.
And those strong hands are time locking.
It really, these massive dips really encourage that redistribution to happen very, very fast. And like you were just saying, like, let's imagine 5% of the total population of Hex. 5% of all Hex in circulation is owned by real users that are not the OA. And 75% of that Hex is staked. That means you've got what's 1/4 of 5%, about 1.25% that's actually liquid floating around there. And of that 1.25%, you know, how much is locked in liquidity pools and exchanges? Probably maybe half of that. So you've got what's half of one, two. Quick calculator, quick math. 0.0875. 0.0875. No, sorry, 0.875% of Hex is roughly liquid and dumpable, like at risk of being dumped right now. And people might be holding liquid Hex for any number of reasons, right? They might be holding it to sacrifice for famous tomorrow, or, you know, there's all kinds of different ways that people could be holding liquid hex without actually intending to dump it on the market as well. But thank you, Tea Time, for the super sticker.
Yeah, thanks.
Shout out to you. Where was I going with that? There's just very, very little liquid hex that's actually at risk. I think the real things you have to worry about are like when there are big whales that do unstake. We saw the guy with 300 million hex. Last time he ended his stake, he sold 50 million of it and then he restaked. This more recent time, when that same whale ended his giant 250 million stake, he sold about 30 million of it. And now he's sitting at about 220 million hex. And I don't know if he's going to continue dumping or continue to restake it into the future, but the dude's made about $7 million of real US dollars, as we can see it right there in his wallet. He's probably pretty happy. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, 7.8 million. And you can just do some behavior analysis and be like, well, last time he unstaked, he dumped some, he staked the rest. This time he dumped some. We're all just kind of waiting for him to restake the rest, but these are giant opportunities to flush these people out of the system, because the volatility is actually a feature right now. Like, because things are so volatile and illiquid, we can flush people out faster. Like, would you rather this guy just shocks the market, wicks it down, and then we spike right back up to 3 cents in like a week? Or would you rather like he dumps over the course of a month and then creates a prolonged depression in the price that takes 6 months to get bought back up? Because that's going to be like 10 years from now, that's probably going to be more like the scenario. When we have Bitcoin level liquidity, it's going to take a lot longer to recover after a giant whale like that is done with the selling.
Great points. Yeah. And thank you to Tea Time for the $20 super chat. 2 respectable gentlemen in the best space. Thanks.
Yes, indeed. Wow. You guys your chat is more generous than mine. Come on, guys. It's a bear market. I need some cash.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have on the agenda?
Oh, I was going to tell you, I came across an actual interview with Kyle Davies from 6 days ago.
3 Arrows Capital guy?
Yeah. And I had never even, I don't think, seen his face before. I had seen Suzu on a bunch of dumb podcasts acting dumb. Right. And
he's a trader, dude. He's just acting like a trader.
But I was just trying to do a little psychological profile on Kyle Davies so he'd be clear in my mind, because it's somebody that I was aware of and didn't understand what really happened at 3 Arrows Capital. I mean, I had heard the headline that they got money from Genesis, and so maybe there was going to be more implosions and more bankruptcies going on in the space. But it's a really fascinating interview. I'd recommend to anybody who's trying to make heads or tails of all this to check it out, because I'm starting to build a little bit of an understanding of like what these billion-dollar players were doing to have it all go wrong. And it's probably the best interview I've seen. I mean, the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff is just all BS. I mean, it's just
lying through
all
your teeth.
BS.
It's obvious too. Just the body language and everything. I mean, I can't believe people don't see it, And you got Kevin O'Leary. I'd invest in him again. It's like, who paid you? How much did they pay you to say that, Kevin?
Yeah,
seriously. But yeah, so with 3 Arrows Capital, they were the first domino of all this to fall. I heard they got sabotaged by Alameda to a degree. Is that how you would explain it, or? It
was only the first hour, and apparently it looks like there's a second hour that's going to be released maybe in the next week or so. But
of just Kyle Davies talking about it.
He's being interviewed by somebody who seems to be like very familiar with how hedge funds work, especially maybe hedge funds that are a little bit outside of the norm.
Yeah,
and it's actually part of the reason I loved it is because there was so much technical jargon, some of which I understood, and some of which I didn't. But it really offers an insight because he goes back through their entire history, and apparently, I'll give you an example. So 3 Arrows Capital had been for years doing an arbitrage against Grayscale. And so the way, because I knew some of the bits and pieces, but now it's starting to become clear to me, like kind of why there were so many dominoes that could fall is, and actually then it made me think of, I have a hypothesis for why Bitcoin never got an ETF.
Mm,
Okay. Which is like, we've all been waiting years and years and years and years. And when you and I got into crypto, it's like, that was
That
one
was a
of
big topic.
that was one of the topics. And
Yeah.
it was like, you know, is it going to be this month? And it was like, it just seemed like they
It
kept
was like
recycling.
a new proposal. But then, you know, the real red pill is like that an ETF would have been awful for Bitcoin. I mean, there is an ETF in other countries for Bitcoin, but Grayscale has a monopoly on an ETN, an exchange traded note. That's not the same thing as an ETF, which is a little more official. So you're saying Kyle Davies was arbing the premiums and discounts?
The premium, because there was only a premium during that whole time.
Gotcha.
And the way that the Grayscale redemption worked was that that you could send them crypto. So he was sending them Bitcoin, and then they would give him, and then they would hold it for a year, and that was the holding period. And then they would give him shares, and the shares would be redeemable to cash in on the premium, and then they could renew the subscription. On top of that, so it was DCG is the parent company of Grayscale and Genesis, and Genesis was the trading. It was the lending facility. So it's kind of similar to what FTX was doing, but they were able to give these guys like billions and billions of dollars because they had capital that was in Grayscale. And so as the price of Bitcoin went up, that unlocked more and more lines of credit for Three Arrows Capital, to the point where Kyle Davies was saying that the last bit of credit that he got came through as a phone call that they wanted to give him $900 million with no collateral.
Wow. What the hell? Wait, so because Kyle Davies had so much Bitcoin, that he had given so much Bitcoin to the digital currency group to basically get, with his collateral Bitcoin, he was buying, or he was given GBTC?
No, they were giving, so they were using what he was doing, subscribing. He was basically just resubscribing every year.
Oh, he was just getting lines of credit in cash?
Because on top of all that, yeah.
Because he was providing the collateral for the GBTC, which had a massive premium on it.
And because the price of Bitcoin had gone up, then they were offering him billions of more dollars of credit.
Wow.
On the same.
Shouldn't they be offering
coins.
less credit as the price goes up that high?
Exactly.
Like, that is, so they just got ahead of themselves. And you can see almost that infection even rubbed off on them a little bit, because they're almost delusionally optimistic about the super cycle, because they needed the super cycle to happen in order for all this to, because I guess Suzu probably thought, oh, well, they're only giving us $1 billion because we're definitely going up. You know, it's almost like when everyone gets in a room and like doesn't take in outside opinions about anything, they kind of just get in over their heads a little bit.
And they were, to them, I think part of the psychological profile of these Three Arrows Capital guys is that to them, they were arbitrage speculators, to the point where like they had a high degree of certainty that what they were doing was going to lead to a good outcome. Like, so for example, if you are bribing government officials to not create an ETF, then you know that there could remain a premium on it's more likely that the premium remains until the system gets levered up so much, and regular investors start to realize that it's DCG's own company.
So they were gambling on all these crazy DeFi plays with billions of dollars that they were lent from Grayscale that was backed by Genesis, basically. And
the premium is what was used to justify the lending, which was created by the fact that the market couldn't arb itself, that it was only the people who were holding for a year who were like already on the inside. So like, yeah, so
now all those people, when their year is coming up, they're probably just like, get me the hell out of here. And now we've seen this giant deficit.
Well, and I think also there were people thinking because a court could come in and say, Genesis, you basically loaned out $1 billion and you effed up. Now Grayscale's on the hook for that. That Grayscale would have to sell its underlying crypto at a deficit, or like to dump it at the bottom.
So
basically,
Grayscale made the top because they had to repay all their faulty loans, kind of like how FTT, when that collapsed. So it's like Grayscale and Genesis are under the same company, Digital Currency Group, just kind of like Alameda and FTX were in bed with each other too. And so it's like calling your friend for a loan and being like, okay, how much money do you want? What do you want to use as collateral? And they're just like, oh, I've got this FTT token that's super high. And then because they're good friends, like they don't even have to do any due diligence or anything. These are all just backdoor deals going on. That's pretty cool. I mean, not cool, but that's pretty crazy.
So I was reading between the lines on this interview that came out 6 days ago. So I think we're just putting this together in real time, of something we'll probably hear in the news like in a couple months after something goes wrong there. But basically, yeah. So you've got this huge deficit now, and I haven't really figured out whether it's a good deal to be getting a Grayscale at a discount or not. But at the end of the day,
the whole thing might implode. That's the risk. And especially if a real ETF comes online and people can arbitrage the real ETF.
Well, at this point with a deficit, you would imagine, here's my prediction, I guess, that like all the people who put in their money when there was a premium, they have to get cycled out for a year, which it was, I think it was about a year ago, but let's think of like since the market top. The Bitcoin market top was about a year ago now.
Yeah.
And so
so all those last people that, even if you got in at the absolute top and you put up collateral, that 1 year mark has passed. That
might be what the politicians were waiting for. And now I think it could be more likely, like Cathie Wood thinks that an ETF is going to get approved for Grayscale, which would then bring it back up to normal. But look, like counting on politicians to do something when you don't have any inside information is like, that seems to be like a pretty speculative thing out of all of this. So
yeah. Well, did you see DCG.com or whatever, Digital Currency Group's website, Barry Silbert and some of the bigger guys like wipe their names off the website? Like, yeah, they're like, when the whole FTX thing was collapsing, they were like trying to clear their names from any association with their own company.
Yeah, because they know they're next.
It was almost like, oh shit, we're doing the same thing they're doing. We should cover our asses a little bit. Sorry for swearing. Are you saying that Cathie Wood is saying that Grayscale would make an ETF, but they've already got GBTC?
So GBTC is a trust, and if they make an ETF, then there would be a right of redemption.
Yeah.
And so I just put I had money that was trapped in a 401k or something. So I had been sitting in dollars, like waiting for the bottom. And so I said, what the hell? There's a 45 or 50% discount on the ETH trust that Grayscale does.
Yeah.
So I bought like $1,000 worth of that. And so my understanding would be that once the government says that there can be a right of redemption, then because my shares are trading at a discount to the amount of ETH.
So then everyone rushes in to buy the discounted GBTC. Well, would it be the same GBTC transforming into an ETF or a separate ETF?
I think basically like it would cause like people who actually trade this shit and who are maybe like licensed to have a redemption, they would be allowed to go in. And so they would make the price of the stock equal to the price of the underlying Ethereum. Because right now, Grayscale is holding twice as much. They're basically holding Ethereum on 50% off. Like you can buy one share, and then the share that you have of the ETH is at this huge discount compared to the market price of the same amount of ETH.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating in and of itself, because it paints a different story of like where we're at in the bear market. So for example, people can go out now and buy sub 11K Bitcoin if they believe that Grayscale isn't going to rip them off. So
Yeah,
it's not really Bitcoin.
But everyone's losing faith, and that's why the discounts are even lower than they've ever been, is because they don't think they're ever going to be able to redeem it. Now it pumped us harder on the way up, but it's dumping us harder on the way down. It's amplifying in both directions. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will be interesting.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's some juicy gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear what the rest of that interview. Do you have a link?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, link me to that. I'll watch it later. Somebody's in the chat saying, do I think that HSI stakes are holding the price of Hex down? No, I do not, but let's finish this. Getting it discounted encourages in the know people to not buy at regular price. I don't know what you're really talking about. Everybody buying HSI stakes has to buy Hex before they wrap the stake. You know, like this isn't any new Hex that were being created here. I don't see why HSI stakes are would hold the price down at all. I mean, maybe if there was a bond market and people were all trading their wrap stakes, but no one's buying or even really selling wrap stakes. People are just wrapping them for in the future. One day they might want to sell it. People just like having that option. Do you think HSI stakes are holding the price? Like, I don't understand how they could be holding the price down.
I think they are. Yeah.
Okay, but how?
Because like if a certain percentage of market participants, let's say like, I don't know, 20 or 50% of people, if they like trust that the wrapped stakes that are on auction as a part of this like Hedron BS, if they believe that those stakes are real and that there's no problem with the code and that like at the end of the stake, it will be redeemable for real Hex, which could be a reasonable assumption.
It's just a wrapped existing Hex stake. I mean, it's already been like people have unwrapped their HSIs before. They've gone the reverse route and like
Correct.
It works.
Correct. And that doesn't mean there will never be a bug in 10 years, but for now it looks like it works.
Yeah, yeah.
And but the idea is that now those are trading at a discount because there's so many of them compared to the number of people participating. So at the end of the day, I would not take it as FUD, and I would say that it's not really hurting the price that much because the total number of shares that's in that system is relatively small. Maybe it's less than 1%.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people rushed to make HSIs just to get ICOSA. I never did that personally, but it's kind of it increased the overall weighted stake length a little bit too, perhaps artificially a bit, which I didn't love that. But there are good things about HSIs, but you know, because one way to mint ICOSA is by getting a wrap stake, and you get 10% more ICOSA for making it max length. You have all these people minting relatively very small HSIs, you know, so you've got a whole bunch of these 15-year HSIs that nobody really cares about because they just wanted the ICOSA right now. I don't understand how that's holding the price down though, because every time you had to buy the Hex in order to stake it. And if you're just going to launch it in the future, that's fine. Like if you're going to make a maximum length stake, that Hex had to be bought. So like, are you saying that now people are playing around with ICOSA more than they are just buying Hex? Like what's
because like when you buy native Hex, when you create a native Hex stake, right? That locks you in as you're the owner. And so the volume on a 15-year Hex stake is 1 because it only has one owner, you. The volume on a wrapped stake, it can be lots depending on how long people hold it. So that's the mechanic of how it can chip away a little bit.
Yeah, maybe in the future, like I said, if there ends up being a thriving bond market, but nobody's doing that right now. You can go to hexmarket.com. People have been some people, as just a test run, they've tried to sell their HSI stake to somebody and nobody cares. Like nobody wants to buy a maximum length HSI when they could just do it themselves. Like no one cares yet. They might care as the years tick on and on. But no, I don't think it's to the degree right now where it's having a negative. It's not holding the price of Hex down. I mean, I'm just not
probably
saying
not
it.
because it's such a small percentage of the actual hex market.
But yeah, but you're talking about, yeah, if people were trading HSIs rather than just buying more hex, then it would be, yeah, I would agree with that. But, you know, in a more mature market, like this is one of those things that's going to exist either way. And so it exists now today, and I don't think it's going to get any traction. I personally I'm not interested in it right now. I plan on doing all my stakes myself. And there's other things just like added risk too. But then there's also benefits. If you think you're going to be paper handed, or if you think you want to gift a stake to somebody else, like that might be a good way for you to do it. So, you know, the idea of wrapped stakes is nothing new. There was one iteration of it like a year and a half ago, but it was way too early at the time and nobody really used it. So when Alex, it was like Hex, there was a lot of early things. Hex Bay, .win.
That's what it was.
And there was also Hex Ref.win, which I would like. They brought the referral system back into Hex. So anyway, it was going to be done either way. I'm glad it was done by Alex, who's a real Hexakin that cares about the Hex price. Like he designs all this stuff very deliberately. So he could have been a lot greedier and he could have been a lot more malicious. You know what I mean? Instead, he was pretty darn benevolent when he created the design of it, right?
It's debatable.
Oh, hey, I meant buying the auctions at discounts means less and less people are buying in a normal fashion. Yeah, but again, nobody's buying. You can go look at all the volume done on these auctions. Oh, the auctions. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. Are people overpaying in Hedron dollar amounts versus the HSIs they're getting? No, does the sold HSI prop price at all? No, it doesn't touch the spot price at all. People are just burning their Hedron to get HSIs. It's kind of a silly side game. Like, I don't play it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested like in having a bidding war on these HSIs, because why would I want to overpay for it? Like it's good that it burns Hedron. I'm not seeing where you're coming from though.
Thanks for the super chat, C-Time. Yeah, so these are silly distractions. If, you know,
people are getting Hex at a massive discount, he said, okay, that's interesting. They're getting Hex at a discount, but they're paying with Hedron. And so they're just paying with Hedron that's getting burned. So there's nothing affecting the price of Hex in that transaction. Does that make sense? Like the actual underlying price of Hex, I don't see how that's.
Well, because it's removing buy pressure if you would have to pay a full price for it.
Yeah, but it's such a minimum amount of like.
It is.
It's like all these people are like
it's
doing this weird little side game, but it's going to run out of momentum over time.
And and if more people participated, you wouldn't be getting it at a massive discount. So it's
a good point too.
It's not.
But
that
I think
big of a
after every 90 days, there's going to be like an influx of all those HSIs from the original, but it's going to get the momentum's going to wear out. So I think in a year, we're going to see a pretty balanced auction market. It's not going to be like this massive rush every 90 days, right?
Why don't you all go talk to Kyle Davies and talk to Suzu, and you let them take care of the arbitrage, okay? Crypto Coffee and I, we're gonna not worry about picking up pennies in front of freight trains.
Yeah, like I get it. Like, yeah, there's this Icosa Hex thing. You can buy it back up to parity. I just don't. I don't got time for that. Like, I have a life. I mean, no offense, guys. I mean, you can make some side money if you like doing that kind of thing. I have nothing against it, but they're just things that keep Hex more sticky for people that might need that. You know, like
if people really wanted these wrapped HSIs or whatever, they'd be paying full price for them. But the fact that you're all buying them to like speculate on them is just a sign that like you're hoping somebody's going to come along and pay a full price. But at the end of the day, you know,
I didn't realize they were all getting such massive discounts because I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, people say that, but then when I talk to people who actually go in and don't spend their whole day hovering over the button, they're not getting really great deals. They're losing the auction. So I think this is like somebody gaming the system and strategically like pretending like it's
like someone's
easy
going
to
after
get.
a little HSI that no one has their eye on, and they try to brag about, oh, hey, look at what a discount I got, but it's like an HSI that nobody cares about anymore.
Yeah, or somebody's just wash trading like cheap stuff or whatever.
And then they use
whatever
that HSI and funnel it back into ICOSA again. Like a lot of people are just going to do that. I mean, yeah, there is a discount on ICOSA. There's a discount on Poly. All in the bull market, those things are all going to pump up to parity again. But I mean, that's like a maximum of what, 30% gains you can get. Whereas like Hex has just no ceiling. Like, I don't know. Just seems a little bit like keep it simple. But hey, maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe you guys have a great thing going on over there. Maybe 20% discount if you're lucky. Yeah, big player bids up price. Yeah, it's weird.
Crypto Coffee wrote an excellent article about how you can teach somebody to buy Hex.
Yeah, we just got back to the basics, right? Pete Slav, I'm confused. How about I just buy Hex? Yeah.
Thank you, Tea Time, for the $10 super chat. You rock.
Tea Time's paying the bills today.
That's right.
August said, exactly. I don't have time for that many crypto-related things. Yeah, look, I love that people are building for the Hex ecosystem. I like that these are all financial primitives almost that will probably be better in 5 to 10 years. When we have a more mature market, that's when, leverage positions and like real institutional players can consider getting in. It's a retail-friendly game right now, so just enjoy it being retail-friendly. Enjoy the fact that there's no whales here to rain on our little party right now, because it's such a small group that's really in the know, and it's a fair opportunity, I think, right now. One day, the institutions are going to come along, and then the mad gains will be gone. You're still going to have great yield, and you're still going to have great passive income, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just a big fan of keeping things simple. I make all these like videos about, oh, you can click on this and click on that because that's what people want to hear, right? But at the end of the day, like the best advice is boring, right? And I'd be out of a job if I just said every single day, buy, hold, and shut the hell up. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's like, how do you make buying and holding fun, right? Like,
onboarding is fun.
I agree with that.
You did a great video. Well, you've done multiple great videos of going out into the public and buying people groceries, interviewing people about whether they've heard about cryptocurrency. Shout out to you. What was that like? What's the behind the scenes look like?
It's funny. You get a lot of there's a lot of failed attempts for every one like interview that goes okay. There's a lot of people that just say no, fuck off.
No.
or they get. I've noticed people get insecure when crypto is mentioned. They seem to shy away because they don't understand it. Maybe they have a negative perception. Maybe they just don't have any perception. But I can tell it makes a lot of people have said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that. I don't know enough about it." So when you're asking somebody up the street, "Hey, can I interview you about crypto?" Maybe don't lead with the crypto part. Just maybe do, "Hey, can I do a quick 2-minute interview with you for my YouTube channel?" Because you can bring up the crypto on the spot and then they'll be kind of already in it.
Yes.
You kind of trap them in your little trap.
That's right.
Auctions are fun and you can accumulate t-shirts for cheap. Yeah. I mean, hey, have fun with it, guys. I'm not telling anybody not to do the auctions. I stayed out of it. I thought Poly was going to handle it all for me, and then Poly fucked up. So I was a little bummed out about that whole thing. I was like, oh, great. I'm going to get all these cheap HSIs with Poly, but that didn't work out. So I've just been kind of letting it go. I can make a video about it. You point here, you click there. Every 5 minutes, it's just like an eBay style auction, but I'm not really losing any sleep over not getting these t-shirts for cheap, but it is like being able to buy Hex in a time machine. That's kind of cool. If you really are planning on holding these HSIs for all 15 years and you're not just playing it for the quick flip of going right back into ICOSA, let's do it all over again. It is a way to burn some of your Hedron and get, stakes that were made, 90 days ago, which have a better t-shirt rate. So kind of hard to argue with that.
I like taking my free Hedron and turning it directly into Hex.
Nice. Solid.
Yeah.
I'm holding mine right now. I'm staking it because if it pumps, I'd rather sell it into Hex when it pumps. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Dude, this Red Bull's got me wired.
Yeah.
What's going on? By the way, thanks for your responses. Yeah, no problem. I'm not trying to come off as like rude. I'm just, it's hard for me to be interested in the auctions at the current moment. What is the deal with Epic Cash? Good, bad, or scam? I don't know what that is.
No, sorry.
Scam. No, just kidding. I'm not sure what that is. I prefer native, but HSI system is cool, and I hope people do well. Yeah, that's my whole shtick as well. Shout out to Maddie for making great YouTube videos.
And crypto coffee.
Props. Thanks, brah. Yeah, it's fun to do. Guys, if you want to join my Patreon, you can tell me what videos to make, and I'll be your little dancing monkey. Jerry Oaksmith, gotta go. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jerry. Bull market with Red Bull. Yeah. Bring back the bull, please.
That's right.
Maybe if we drink enough of these, Hex will start pumping.
That's the plan. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Win Bull 2024? Probably. I don't know, but probably.
Like the bull market in Hex is going to be whenever nobody is saying. Like, look at how everything got front run before the 2.5 year 10,000x call. It was 1.8 years in that you got day 656. Hex went up to 55 cents. It's because everybody was trying to front run the 2.5 year call. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like having their Hex coming unlocked at the 2.5 year mark or a little bit before. But it's those people who are just so strange and weird that they had it come out right in that sweet spot of 1.7 years. They did the best. So it's, look at the chart of future market supply and take that into account when you want to think about when the next bull market in Hex will be. Yeah,
people forget about that. That was one of the most basic things. It's like Richard Hart always used to say, Hex has a chart of future market supply. Like, it doesn't get much easier than that when you're trying to plan your stakes. You can even go to backuphex.com, and they've got a front end cool thing where they'll tell you, if you pick this day to end your stake, here's how many other people are also ending their stake on the same day as you. So you can see how much competition you really have. I think that's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah.
Buyers don't have to wait 15 years because they can sell them anytime. Yeah, I'm aware of that. They could sell it to Icosa. I mean, Icosa just dropped 70%. So apparently a lot of these people were selling their HSIs for Icosa and just dumping their Icosa because they thought that would be profitable. And now it seems they've dumped the Icosa so much that it's just not like, if anybody made any profit on that strategy, it'd be like a couple people at the very beginning. And yeah, Icosa quickly lost its peg because everybody that was buying these HSIs, a lot of them clearly didn't plan on holding the HSIs. They just wanted to cash them in for more Icosa and dump the Icosa. I don't think that that was very wise of people. You know what I mean? Like when you play short-term games, you're going to get, what is it? Play stupid games, earn stupid prizes. Like, yeah. Icosa is going to take a while to get back up to parity. It eventually will get back up to what it should be, which is about 33 Hex, but because people keep dumping the crap out of Icosa with all these HSIs that they're getting for what they think is good deals. It's like, ask yourself, is the good deal you got with the Icosa, with the Hedron that you paid for the HSI, is that better than the minimal amount of Icosa that you're able to dump right now? I would venture to say, I haven't done the math, but I would venture to guess it's not a very good strategy anymore. And if it ever was, it might have only been a good strategy for a couple days at that. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to that whole thing. What is Big Payday? What will that event be repeated? No, sir. I'm sorry to say that it will not be. Big Payday was a one-time only event on November 19th, 2020. All of the Hex was free claimable by Bitcoin holders. A lot of Bitcoin holders did not claim their free Hex. And so all of the unclaimed Hex that Bitcoin holders didn't claim, that they left on the table, got distributed proportionally to everybody that was a believer in Hex, that had Hex staked before November 19th. So it was a beautiful day for a lot of the long-term stakers. It'll never be repeated again. Even the short-term stakers got free money. They complained loudly about it, but it was still free money.
see a lot of that complaining of short-term minded people. There's a little trader inside of all of us, and certainly it's a good thing so we don't starve to death. People, you need to take gains at some point, and a lot of people in Hex have yearly stakes coming out now, so people kind of have a blend of different perspectives. Like, sure, I want the price to go up now, but like I can also be patient.
Yeah, Hexivore, thanks for confirming what I kind of assumed. Keep going down rabbit holes, but always find my way back home to buy more Hex. Yeah, I mean, it kind of all comes full circle, right? Buy spot Hex, makes the price go up. It's good for you. It's good for everyone. Big payday won't be repeated. Yeah, it was programmed into the code. So, cool.
What was it like buying groceries for people?
Oh, that was fun. A lot of people didn't want the money. A lot of people said, hey, give it to someone who needs it more. And I was just trying to be fair, not, single anyone out. I was just standing by the line kind of awkwardly. It's really awkward when you do those kind of things in real life.
Yeah.
My tip to somebody doing a grocery or giveaway video would be like, get the cash register person, get them on board beforehand, because maybe tip them a little bit too, because they deserve it. Yeah, because then they'll help you. They'll be on your side. They'll make it more fun and interesting. And it takes some, there's a little bit of nervousness, obviously, but the first one or two you do after you kind of break the ice for yourself, it gets easier and easier. Go with a friend, go with another Hex buddy, because that really does make, doing it alone would have sucked balls. Do it with a friend. So one of my next video ideas, Maddie, you might have some ideas. I want to go on the street and ask people a trivia question, and then see if they get it right. You get $100 or something. But like, how do I ask them a trivia question? Because no one's ever heard of Hex. But how do I ask them like something that's like on par with what we're trying to do? Something about delayed gratification. What should the question be? You know what I mean?
That's important. My mind automatically went to Cash Cab. You remember that show?
Yeah, I remember that show. I remember,
like an Uber type thing.
Right. Rated PG. Yeah, that was a cool show. I mean, that was kind of like an internet show, wasn't it? Wasn't it on YouTube or something?
Maybe.
Or was it on actual TV?
Both, maybe. Yeah. Bristology says multiple choice.
Multiple choice. There you go.
I mean, and in now that this week marks like GPT-3 being out, you can always like ask GPT-3, like, you can describe what Hex is and then be like, what's a good question for a beginner that's not going to scare them off or like seem weird in a video.
Yeah. Giving 400. Yeah, I could give people Hex, but the whole process is so clunky. Like here, like nobody has time for that. If they're just busy trying to get home. Like nobody wants to be pitched something by a random guy off the street that involves anything more than just like 30 seconds of their time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
for sure.
I've been following a word of advice. We live in an echo chamber. Try to follow people that are viral outside of your echo chamber, because you might get a lot of inspiration from that. I follow some guys that just do, like, I even look at what Mr. Beast is doing just for inspiration. I'm not saying I'm going to try to be exactly like anybody, but the grocery store video I got from a different guy. My biggest idea would maybe just be like doing random interviews on the street, asking people, maybe start with just money instead of crypto. Hey, what do you think about money? What do you think is wrong with money? How would you want to make money better? What do you think is the best way to make money? And then kind of tie that into crypto somehow.
You could, for example, I asked GPT-3, like, what are the top 10 financial goals that somebody would have? And it gave me a list of 10. And you could go around and ask people like, hey, can you name 3 of the top like financial goals that people have? And then if they can say it, then they win.
Gotcha. That's cool. Yeah. So open to suggestions, guys. Those are pretty fun to do. So give them 400 Hex. Yeah. ask them what a CD is, everybody's going to say like a compact disc, not an actual. Thoughts on the new hit piece on Richard? I don't follow that drama. If it doesn't serve my mental health, I don't follow any hit pieces or anything.
There was a really great video I saw. It was like some sort of, here's why Hex is a scam, and the conclusion was that Hex has a great community, and that's why it's a scam.
Oh yeah, we're a cult.
Yeah.
Was it the cult of Hex?
Yeah.
That one? Yeah. Yeah,
So hey, like, yeah, we have a great community. Sucks to be you if you're not in it.
It's inclusive, man. It's like, yeah, I only watched maybe the first minute of that, and I'm just like, I don't want to like end up just being a keyboard warrior telling the guy how wrong he is, because it's going to be net positive. And either way, whatever people see that and can see beyond just the whole cult narrative. I mean, hey, if a community is a cult, then I'm in the best cult ever. Like the cult of getting rich. Yeah. Sign me up. Except we don't have to like drink any Kool-Aid or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. From what I understand of cults, it's like you're not supposed to be financially free and all that kind of stuff. So poor analogy.
Yeah. I mean, so the problem is that cults have a charismatic leader, but the leader makes them do things, things, and makes them behave a certain way. Richard doesn't do any of that, although he is a thought leader in the space. But here's another thing too. I see a lot of people out there, even in their Twitter profiles, like Richard Hart is God. Like you're not doing yourself any favors, guys. Like do not ever idolize one person to such a high degree. Like don't idolize
unless
me.
It's us.
Don't idolize me by any means. Don't idolize Richard. Like, you know what I mean? Like the reason people call us a cult is because, no offense, but some of you guys out there act like you act like you're in a cult. So, and it's fun to joke about, but some of the stuff is a bit cringy from time to time. And when you spam someone's comments with like Richard Hart was right and stuff like that, it's fun. I get it. It's fun. I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but you got to see it from their point of view. Yeah, someone that's never even bothered to look into it is getting spammed up with a bunch of people yelling at them. Like, carry yourself like a respectable person that's not like bowing down to their almighty leader, because we don't have a leader. Everybody in the community, you are the leader of yourself. You're a sovereign individual.
Yes.
I want to teach people how to think for themselves. That was never my goal, was to be like yes, a thought leader. Sure. I'll be a thought leader, but I'm not trying to have like a bunch of people drinking the Kool-Aid in my backyard.
Another like point to make is that I consider the quote unquote cult of Hex to be like way more like a sport, like a sports team, or like, anything kind of a sport unto itself. And so basically what that means is like, of course you're going to have fans, and the fans are going to do crazy things because they're having fun. And because they have a community of other like silly people who are, living life to the fullest.
Like we're fanatic okay. I hate that. I want to retract on what I previously said too, because I don't like telling anybody how to ever live their life. If you want to go balls to the wall and yell and scream about Hex on Twitter, go do that all day long. As long as you're just leading out of a good place with good intentions, with love, and not with like animosity and fear. The only word of advice is just don't be an asshole. Like carry yourself, like treat others how you want to be treated, because you do represent the whole community at large, and you are a lot more powerful than you think you are. But yeah, let's be Hex super fans. It's fun. It's more fun to care about something than to just be, I've tried the nihilism thing, guys. It doesn't work. It's very, very depressing. You might feel like you're smart and like, oh yeah, there's no point to anything. The world sucks. But all that doom and gloom BS is not going to get you anywhere. I also see people getting wrapped up in these YouTube rabbit holes. You probably know, right? Like when you start clicking on one conspiracy video, you'll get more and more. Next thing you know, you're going to have bags under your eyes. You're going to walk outside and be like, oh, like the world is ending. Like you're going to think World War III is right around the corner. Just take care of yourself out there, boys and girls. Take care of yourself. That's all I got to say.
That's right. And that's a good note. We're at an hour and 30 minutes. We've discussed ChatGPT weighing in on crypto. We've talked about the new updates to Time Pays Me, to the game theory of how that's going to operate, and how close we could be to seeing that product launch on Ethereum, and then subsequently on Pulse Chain. And then, we gave our thoughts about Hex and the cult of Hex, or the fandom of Hex, whatever you want to call it.
I always kind of wanted to be in a cult when I was younger. Yeah, just kidding. But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by. This has been really, really, really fun.
Oh, normally I take like a couple of minutes to like throw on a little bit of music. Yeah, I'm gonna delete this. I gotta queue up the thumbnail, because on Twitter it's gonna show the last screen as kind of the thumbnail, and so I throw up the thumbnail so that people can see what the video is about on Twitter.
Okay, cool. I gotta do the music on my stuff. It's a good idea. Thanks for spending your Thursday night with us.
That's right.
You could have been anywhere in the world. Here you are.
Oh, hey, look, it's
Funding Jim.
Hey, good to see you. Great guy. Everybody go follow Funding Jim. Subscribe to Coffee's Patreon and to his YouTube channel. We did a great video together earlier this week on his channel, so check that out.
Yep.
Hit the like and subscribe button. And oh wait, I gotta do until
you have an outro.
I always like to show this too. I don't know why. The less explanation, the better on that, right?
He's working hard. He's a man of the people.
That's right. And then I guess I will. I'll say my outro catchphrase is, until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Nice.
It's from ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome. There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man. ALLin's got that covered. Does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does. From ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome. There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man. ALLin's got that covered. Does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.